Are you anxious with the stocks you own, or are you feeling a lot of anxiety around investing in the stocks? And if so, then this video is for you. I'm going to cover three things. So first, I want to talk about where that anxiety is coming from. I want to talk about what's creating it, and I want to talk about how to get rid of it. So again, if you have any stock investing going on, or you're anxious with your stocks or what you own, there is a reason for it, and there's something most people are doing to recreate that. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is it's not a foregone conclusion. I think most people believe or have been taught that anxiety and trauma and drama and all that craziness is just part of investing in stocks. And that is absolute BS. If you are having a lot of anxiety and stress and worry around investing, it means you're doing something wrong. Now, I'm not calling you out like it's your fault, but what I'm saying is you're creating it. So let's talk about some of the things that create stock anxiety. So the number one thing that creates investing anxiety, stock anxiety, whether you're trading, is you own too many investments. Just full stop, you own too many investments. If you're doing trading and you're trading more than, I'm going to be really liberal here, 7 positions, you have way too many positions in your trading. Because what happens is when the brain has more than 7, it literally starts getting overwhelmed. It has decision fatigue. It starts worrying. It starts creating all this anxiety. So if you are trading, or you're a trader, or you're trading a portion of your portfolio and you have more than 7 positions, you're the one that's creating anxiety around your investing, not the market. The other thing too is if you're in a sector, whether it's crypto or pot stocks or gold, if you have more than one symbol in that category, it's just fully unnecessary, right? So if you believe pot stocks are going to the moon and you own 15 different pot stocks, it would actually be better for your anxiety and your performance to just own a pot mutual fund. Same thing for crypto, same thing for almost anything else. So the first thing, or the first kind of way people create anxiety is they just own too much. Now, if you're an investor and you're not a trader, the same thing is happening. Your big box advisor or your pick of the month newsletter or some book you read has you owning too many things. And I just want you to think about this. There's something called the free stock market rate of return. Now, it's not an industry term. It's actually a term I created. And it's just the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested, right? Almost no one can beat the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested over any 5-year period, right? Now, notice I keep saying with dividends reinvested. That's just a little button you can click in your brokerage site that has the dividends get reinvested. So over any 5-year rolling period, almost no one can beat the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested. So if you're not even beating the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested, you can just go look up those numbers. When you include the dividend, it's called total returns. So you can literally go pull up an S&P 500 total returns data sheet just to see what is going on with those. And if your account isn't doing that, then you can just replace it with the S&P 500 total returns. You just buy a symbol that tracks the S&P, right? And you just make sure the dividends are reinvested. So the first thing that actually creates anxiety is people were taught to own way too many things. Okay, the second thing with creating it is you were never taught, it's not your fault, you were never taught to actually look at a price chart. So what I think about is if you were at the beach, and let's just say it was a beach that had wavy waves or bigger waves, and you were on the beach, but you had to face away from the water. So you're facing towards, let's just say land was that way, and you're facing towards land, and behind you are all the waves crashing. But you were never taught to turn around and open your eyes and look at the waves crashing on the beach. If you were, you'd be able to see the different size waves, and you'd be able to see where you could stand to not get your toes wet. You could see where to stand to get, up to your knees. You could see where to stand to have fun. But in investing, you are literally being taught to close your eyes and turn your back to the ocean. Now, the ocean is a metaphor for the stock market. And it's a good one because the stock market does things. It has waves, it ebbs and flows, just like the ocean does, just like waves do, just like it does on beaches. So if there's a lot of anxiousness or anxiety around your stock investing, any of your investing, it's literally because you've been taught to turn your back and close your eyes to the stock market. So every time a wave comes in and it's a big wave, but maybe it's not a big wave, but someone on land is telling you and you're a really big wave coming, really, oh my God, this is a big wave coming. That's going to load up so much anxiety. So the second reason why there's a lot of anxiety is because no one has ever taught you to look at the stock market. And you don't look at the stock market with PE ratios or any ratios. That's the thing. You want to look at actual price charts. And if you have looked at price charts and you are anxious, it's because no one's taught you to look at the right time range, right? So most people are taught to look at a 6-month time range, and it's not long enough. You need to have a long enough view to actually see what's going on. So the first thing with anxiety around stock investing is if you have it, two things. One, you own way too many things and you've been taught that owning more things is safer. It's not. Okay. And two, you've never been taught or trained how to look at a price chart properly. So you can look at it and go, oh, that's what's going on. Oh, okay. There's no trauma or drama going on. That just the market's doing whatever. So with that price chart, that leads to the third thing of why people have anxiety. They haven't been taught to use a filter that filters out the noise. And this is not your fault. This is not our fault. No one teaches us how to filter out all the trauma and the drama and the BS and the hype and the fear. But if you are having anxiety and having anxiousness around stock investing, it's because your filter is broken, right? The brain was not designed to grow money. The brain was designed to have a filter. And so if you have anxiousness or anxiety or stress or worry or concern around your investing, it's because your filter is literally allowing in all of that crap. It's literally filtering in, allowing in the anxiety, and then it gets into your body. So those are three things that are almost absolutely happening if you have stock investing, anxiety, stock investing going on. Okay, so what you can do about it. And I've talked about this a little bit by kind of pointing out the problems, but what you can do about it is A, just own the stock market, the free stock market rate of return, which is the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested. There are many tracking symbols. Okay, you don't have to end there. That's not where the conversation ends. It's where the conversation starts. Start with that index no one can beat, or very few people can beat, especially if you reinvest the dividends. Start with that. So talking about solutions, that's part of the solution, is just to get that index that's very hard to beat. If you live overseas, every country has its own index. And if you're in a really small country, I would just go with the all world index. I've worked with people in 30 different countries around the world, and almost every country has an all international ETF or mutual fund, especially if you're in a small country like South Africa or Singapore. You're absolutely, one of your choices is going to be an all international or an international fund or international ex-US fund. So that could be your standard or your equivalent of the S&P 500. Okay, and then the other thing I talked about it too a little bit is you got to turn around, you got to look at the ocean, you got to see the waves and go, oh, those are just normal waves. Or no wonder why I'm getting scared. I need to move back 5 feet. That's what I really need to do because I'm just too close to the edge of the water. So you've got to turn around and you've got to look at the ocean. And the way you do that is by pulling up a price chart with nothing else on the price chart except the closing price of the market. Make it super simple and just look at the closing price of the market and start with just zooming out 3 years. 3 years gives a really nice kind of runway of what's going on. Most people are like, no, 3 years, it's too much. It's actually not. It gives you a nice time frame. It shows you what's going on. It can show you how much noise gets filtered out. So if you have the anxiety running, and it doesn't matter if it was COVID 2020 or global financial crisis or something else, but if you're having that, it's because you own too many positions, okay? No one's taught you how to look at the market. And just those two things, looking, being able to see it visually with your eyes, is going to be a huge game changer. Fewer positions, and really look at the market. And then the third is have that filter. And the filter is the price chart. Look at the price chart and go, oh my gosh, this doesn't matter. That noise, that news and noise is the same to me. It doesn't matter. The good news is you're creating it. And I don't mean have that sound dickish, but the good news is that if you have anxiety around stock investing, it's getting created in you, probably because of how people taught you to do it. But what I'm saying is there's a much better way without having any anxiety, or if you do have anxiety, by having a proper filter and owning fewer positions, then it's like, oh, okay, the anxiety goes away almost immediately. The last thing I'll say before I hit the pause button is, and if you're doing all of those, which most people are not, it probably means you're investing in something that is very hyped up, that can move 20 or 30% in a day, not even in a week, not even in a month or a quarter or a year. But if you're doing those other things and you're owning something that can literally move up or down 20 or 30% in a day, you're literally inviting that anxiety into your life. And so if you have a symbol that's moving that much in a day, then yeah, that's going to probably create a lot if you don't understand how to really manage symbols like that. Thanks, guys. If you like this video, you're going to love the videos at the end. And of course, if you like the video, please leave a comment and hit the like button. Thanks for being in my world, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, bye.